In this video, we will describe the process of scientific advice, as well as how patients are involved and how they can best prepare for this activity. But first, what is scientific advice? Scientific advice is the advice provided by the EMA upon the request of companies on the development of a medicine. Companies provide information in a question and answer format, and a fee is charged for this activity. Protocol assistance is the scientific advice for medicines that have received an orphan designation that are for the treatment of rare diseases. Scientific advice and protocol assistance are coordinated by the Scientific Advice Working Party. The Working Party is made up of EU members who are either nominated from national agencies or come from academia. These members are selected for their experience in different areas of medicine's development. In addition, members from other EMA committees are also included who are responsible for a particular aspect of the advice provided. Patients with experience of a particular disease can also be invited. These members are selected for their experience in different areas of medicine's development. If you have watched the other videos, you will be familiar with this figure. This diagram shows an overview of the medicine's regulatory pathway, and you can see that it's split into pre-submission, evaluation, and post-authorization. Here we see where in the process scientific advice occurs. Scientific advice covers all aspects of development of a medicine, from quality of the manufacturing process to non-clinical questions, clinical and regulatory aspects, and significant benefit for orphan-designated medicines. By providing the option of scientific advice, the regulator's aim is for trials to be performed efficiently and to the highest ethical and scientific standards. The scientific advice procedure takes 60 days. On day 0, the Working Party meets and allocates coordinators for the questions asked by the companies. At the same time, the dossiers that would best benefit from the input of patients is communicated to the EMA team responsible for patients. On day 30, the decision is made by the Working Party on whether they need to meet the company or if they will respond in writing. As you see, the timelines for responses in writing are shorter, day 40. The Working Party meets with the company on day 60. Patients are invited to contribute in both cases. Patients are contacted to participate in scientific advice, either directly by the EMA or via an EMA-eligible patient organization. Patients are sent information and a video explaining scientific advice and their role. Like all experts, they have to complete certain documents in order to participate. Declaration of interest, confidentiality form, curriculum vitae, nomination form. If you are a patient that has been contacted to participate in scientific advice and you have agreed, your name and contact details are shared with the Scientific Advice Secretariat. Once you have completed the declaration of interest and confidentiality forms, etc., then the Secretariat will send you the documents relevant to the discussion. The product manager will contact you to direct you to the most relevant sections of the documents and answers any questions. It is important to make yourself available and speak to the product manager to be sure that you make the best use of your time in preparing and contributing. Treat all documents with the utmost confidentiality. This means that you cannot share or discuss the contents with anyone. Scientific Advice Working Party will decide on day 30 of the procedure, as seen earlier, whether they want to meet the company or respond in writing. You may be invited to participate in either outcome. In the case of a discussion meeting where the company comes to the EMA, there will normally be around 15 people in the room, including EMA staff, members of the Working Party, and representatives of the company. You will be introduced to the other members of the Working Party and the EMA staff. You can ask any questions you like. The company is invited into the room and informed that a patient is present and that the discussion begins. If you cannot attend in person, you can either participate by telephone or send comments in writing. If the Working Party is responding only in writing, you can still contribute your perspective by commenting on the proposed advice in writing. Please note that the timelines are shorter. Some of the areas where you can contribute to the scientific advice requested by a company on the development plans include the selection of appropriate endpoints, defining the target population, choosing the right comparator, the duration of the study, treatment administration, formulation and dose of the medicine, the clinical relevance versus statistical significance, identification and assessment of risk potential, significant benefit, added value over existing therapies in the case of orphan medicines. You can also comment on informed consent. Why do we need the input of patients? Patients know more about living with the disease as a patient or carer. You know the needs of patients and their families. You know how your disease is clinically managed. You know where there are unmet needs and what is expected from innovative therapies. You understand the feasibility of clinical investigations. Once the meeting is finished, the Working Party will reconvene to discuss the outcome and will prepare a final advice letter. This letter needs to be signed off by the Committee for Human Medicinal Products, or CHMP. You will be sent a copy of this letter as well as minutes from the meeting and a letter of thanks for your participation. It is important to remember that although the process can seem daunting, your input is highly valued. It is important to prepare for the meeting, to focus on the relevant points of the discussion, and to streamline your contribution. Patient input is an equal part of the whole picture, and your input does make a difference. If you would like to know more about scientific advice, go to the EMA website at www.ema.europa.eu. If you would like to register to be involved in EMA activities as a patient expert, please go to the Getting Involved section of the Patients pages on the EMA website, or click on the link in the PDF version of this talk.